Coming up on Sports Paws, the women's lacrosse team looks to secure a playoff spot in the final game of their regular season.
Plus, a 3-game homestand for the softball team against the Marist Red Foxes.
Plus, the tennis teams hosted matches against Fairfield and Niagara.
All that and more coming up on Sports Paws starting right now. Welcome into Studio 125 for tonight's episode of Sports Paws. I'm Zach Naffa.
And I'm Beckett Calkins. After 4 years on this show, this will be our final time anchoring Sports Paws one last time, and our first time together, Zach. Lots of big news around QU sports this week.
Yeah, Beckett, but none bigger than the major news from Tuesday as Quinnipiac announced that its women's rugby team would move from Division I to club status.
Q30's Eli Ehlers spoke to members of both the team and the rugby community on their reaction to the news.
I've lost motivation because rugby was my why. It gave me a sense of belonging and purpose, and now it feels that has taken away.
On Tuesday at 10:41 a.m., the Quinnipiac rugby team received an email that they would be having a team meeting at 11 a.m. That meeting turned into the athletic director, Greg Amodio, and Sarah Frazier, the deputy director of athletics, telling the team their program will be moving from Division I to club. However, not all the athletes were able to be there due to class and found out via email.
When I opened that email and read it in class, I'd immediately walked out and just began sobbing, called my mom to tell her that I was no longer a college athlete, and I just couldn't believe it.
Following the announcement being made to the team and the university, the rugby athletes have had a roller coaster of emotions.
Our emotional reactions were, it seemed as though we had just heard the news that someone very close to us had passed away, and that's because a part of us did die that day.
It's devastating, and I feel like I've been let down by all of Quinnipiac athletics, especially because we've tried to contact the ED, his secretary, and we've gotten no response.
This news was especially tough for Macy Dunn, who received the same news last year when her previous program, Central Washington University, was discontinued.
The last couple of days have not felt real at all. Part of it has felt almost like a little bit of deja vu from last time.
Another person affected by this decision is head coach Becky Carlson, and Carlson's impact has been made not only here on this field, but across the entire rugby community.
I certainly know it's been a labor of love of Becky's, and not just in the development of Quinnipiac women's rugby, but attempting to raise all boats.
The Quinnipiac community has continued to show support to the team. The petition put out by their assistant coach to reinstate the program currently has over 21,000 signatures. I reached out to Quinnipiac administration and they declined an interview or statement and referred me to the press release on the athletics website, along with the emails that have been sent to the student body. Reporting for Q30 Sports, I'm Eli Ehlers.
Great work, Eli. On Saturday, the women's lacrosse team traveled to Sacred Heart with a playoff spot on the line. Win or go home in the final game of the regular season for the Bobcats, looking for their 4th MAC win of the season on the road against the Pioneers. In the first quarter, Maggie Aranio opens the scoring for the Pioneers, getting on the board in the opening 3 minutes. And then 2 minutes later, Aaron Harold finds the back of the net. After getting tripped in front, makes a nice spin move to get around the defense, 2-0 Sacred Heart. 9 minutes left in the first, Kate Bendowski gets the scoring going for the Bobcats. She fires that one into the back of the net, and then a few minutes later, Bendowski takes a free position shot to tie the game, sets a new single-season program record with 71, and she wasn't done. But as the quarter comes to an end, it's Emma Miller Ayala. She drills it into the back of the net to give the Bobcats a lead, 5-4 Quinnipiac at the end of the first quarter. It's a Givens-filled second quarter as Julia Givens gets through traffic to give the Bobcats a 6-5 lead, and then less than 2 minutes later, she slides in between the defense, finds the back of the net, extending the lead up to 7-5, and then to finish up the second, Mia Delmond gets the rebound from Anna Givens' free position shot and scores. Bobcats up 8-6 at the break. To start the third, Delmond finds a wide open net and buries it to make it 10-6, and that wouldn't be her only goal. The third is just under a minute left in the quarter. She moves from behind the net, gets in all alone against the goaltender. She won't miss from there. 12-6 Bobcats heading into the fourth. And in the final frame, Bendowski finds Anna Givens early in the fourth to strengthen the Bobcats' lead up to 13-6. The Pioneers would get one back in the fourth as Nadine Gallion scores to give the Pioneers their final goal of the game, but it's not enough. They would drop this one 16-9. Bendowski extends the record to 74 points, while Miller Ayala's 5-point effort earned her MAC Offensive Player of the Week.
After the big win, Zach Stokinger had the playoff clinching story.
On Saturday, the Quinnipiac women's lacrosse team took down in-state rivals Sacred Heart by a score of 16-9. With that, the Bobcats have clinched their tickets to the 2026 MAC playoffs.
The victory over Sacred Heart was the final hurdle for the Bobcats to clinch back-to-back playoff berths for the first time since 2010 and 2011. Despite leading the squad to back-to-back berths in 2025 and 2026, head coach Jordan Solari gives all the credit to her players.
I mean, that's huge. Like, that's what you're trying to build on. Nothing great was built in one day, and we've been working on this for a long time. So to see them get to feel the success of that is huge for me as their coach. Everyone's like, great job, but those kids did it. I just get to be a part of it with them, but it's huge for this program and forward momentum from here.
Throughout the final stretch of the regular season, the area that has continually improved for the Bobcats has been their defense, which has kept games tight all the way down to the final whistle. And no one has seen that improvement more than first-year goalie Maddie Ward.
I've seen them go from being, timid and shy to being the best people in front of me, and I put my full trust in them every time, and I know that they're going to come up with the stop where I am, and it's so cool to see that grow through the season, and now's the time that we want to be the best.
As the Bobcats now shift their focus to the playoffs, senior attack Kate Bendowski believes the Bobcats' approach will not change for the postseason.
I think take it one game at a time. Like we did today, we knew that we needed to win to get into the playoffs. So just having that one game at a time mentality and just really not regretting anything that we do on the field, going hard for 60 minutes and looking left and right and just wanting to win.
The Bobcats will now wait a week as they'll take on the Canisius Golden Griffins in Buffalo, New York on next Sunday. Reporting from Fairfield, I'm Zach Stokinger, reporting for Q30 Sports.
Thanks, Zach. Let's take a look at the bracket. The 6-seeded Bobcats will travel to Canisius, looking to avenge a 15-14 loss to the Golden Griffins back in March. Siena will head to Maryland to take on Mount St. Mary's in a tilt between two of the top three defenses in the conference. Undefeated Fairfield is the top seed and will host the lowest remaining seed, while second-place Niagara will face the highest remaining seed on Friday, May 1st. Now, from one playoff team to another, the Acrobatics and Tumbling team is gearing up for the NCATA National Championships.
That's right, Zach. Miranda Pertorti and Katie Velukovic are live to preview the big event.
Thanks, Nafa and Beckett. It's time for the NCATA playoffs, and you know what? Let's take a look at that bracket to start us off. First meet, you have number 3 Quinnipiac taking on number 6 Iona, followed by number 2 Oregon and number 7 Gannon. The winners of these first two meets will face off in the first semifinal matchup later in competition. Back to that first round, though, you have number 4 Fairmont State taking on number 5 Augustana, and the number 1 Baylor taking on number 8 Duquesne.
Now we're going to go back to that first quarterfinal meet that you mentioned, which is Quinnipiac against number 6 Iona. Iona finished overall with a 3-3 record, averaging 264.2 points in 6 meets, with their highest coming against Augustana with 271.685. Now, when they came here to play against Quinnipiac, they did take the ACRO heat as well as the toss heat, but they have lost to Quinnipiac in the quarterfinals last year, and this will make their second consecutive appearance.
Now, if things go the way they did last year, they're most likely going to face the number 2 Oregon Ducks, who have a 5-2 record on the season. Both losses going up against the Baylor Bears, just like last year. They have 3 wins against teams in the top 8, including Gannon, who they face off against in the first round. And they're averaging a 272.527 points in 7 meets this season.
And speaking of Baylor, they have the number 1 seed this year, once again with a perfect record, 9-0, averaging 280.4 points in 9 meets, ending with the highest score this season of 286.8. They have been number 1 in the pool this entire season and are the reigning NCATA National Championships, and they have held that title for 10 consecutive years.
Now let's turn our focus back to the Quinnipiac Bobcats, number 3. They have a 5-1 record on the season with that one loss to Oregon, as I mentioned earlier. It was by approximately 5 points, and they have 2 wins against teams in the top 8, averaging a 267.770, and their highest score was in their meet against Iona, so it bodes well for them going into the semifinal matchup.
Yeah, well, enough with the team events. We're going to go over to the individual. In 2025, Quinnipiac won the trio tumbling and the Acro 6 element title, and in 2024, winning the opening pyramid and 6 element tumbling. Now, based off what we have seen them do throughout this regular season, the titles they could be coming home with is the aerial, open toss, and the DOL and comp pyramid titles.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where they end up qualifying through that semifinal matchup on Thursday. But for right now, that is all the time we have here. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Zach, it's time to take a break. But when we come back, We'll go to the tennis court, where both teams were in action this week, hosting Fairfield and Niagara for their final regular season games in Hamden. We'll see how that went.
Yeah, big matchups there. And softball hosted Marist for a big 3-game set. See how they fared. The postseason race is heating up. Sports Paws will return right after this.
Do you enjoy Quinnipiac sports?
I just keep believing you're going to pick Paige Girardi over Carson Martin. I think
Floor general, absolute glue guy on the court.
Then Bobcat Breakdown is the place for you.
'Twas the night of Bobcat Breakdown, and all through the suite, all the producers were running around, getting ready for show of the week.
I brought mittens because I think that half of this take is cold.
I think us Anthonys think alike because I had the exact same idea as you.
Tune in to Bobcat Breakdown every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on q30tv.com/watch.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
As a dad, every day is a challenge. To make sure that the time that I have, I spend with them. It doesn't matter how tired you are, you have to try to teach them. When they learn something new, and you can just see in their faces, it's such an incredible moment. It's those moments that are my favorite.
Gracie and Pedro might not get along so well.
You're standing on my tail.
But there's one thing they agree on. There's a right seat for everyone.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Whether you're a dog,
Hold on, Pooch.
a cat, a fish, or a rat.
And I'm a ferret.
Be sure to travel safe.
How can you be so sure? I'm absolutely positive.
On your next adventure, make sure your children are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. A big week on the tennis court for a pair of Bobcats. Willow Renton was named MAC Women's Tennis Player of the Week, and Carlos Broncimo with the same honor for the men's side. Renton had a 6-0 record in 3 matches against Merrimack, Mount St. Mary's, and Ryder, while Broncimo went 5-1 in a 2-1 week for the Bobcats, competing at number 1 in singles and the top doubles player for the Cats.
And Renton and the women's team hosted Fairfield on Wednesday, looking for a 10th straight win. Bobcats hosting the Stags, looking to clinch a MAC regular season title. Caitlin Flower and Willow Renton, they'd spin the rackets to see who goes first. Didn't matter. They'd win the first doubles match on court 1. And in the second doubles match, Caroline Scholson and Isabella Sicigano hits the ace down the tee. Quinnipiac takes both doubles to take an early 1-0 lead. And then in the singles, Renton, showing why she's the player of the week, wins the long rally, turning her defense into offense, doing what she does best. She wins in straight sets. Quinnipiac up 2-0. Stags showing a little bit of frustration. Coaches trying to get through to the players. They struggled in singles throughout the day, trying to make some adjustments. They did pay off on court too, as Caitlin Flower hits an error off her forehand slice. She was up 1-0, but lost 2-1. The lone Bobcat singles loss on the afternoon. See a little bit of frustration there from her. But then Isabel Baker, forehand cross court, setting up her 2 backhands down the line as she would make the move to her left. A great day for her. She would win 2-1 after dropping the first set. Part of the Bobcats win. Quinnipiac takes it 6-1, 10th win in a row. They clinch the top seed in the MAC playoffs. Another undefeated regular season. Team hasn't lost a conference game since 2024.
Coming off the Fairfield win, the Bobcats kept the momentum going against the Niagara Purple Eagles on Saturday. Quinnipiac won the match 6-1, with Willow Renton and Caitlin Flower winning the top doubles matchup 6-2. And Renton, Flower, Vera Secarina, Anaga Shankar, and Caroline Scholson all picking up singles wins.
Bobcats enter the MAC tournament as the top seed after another undefeated conference slate. As a result, they'll take on number 4 seeded Fairfield Stags. That match will take place at 10 a.m. on Friday, April 24th from the Princeton University Racket and Fieldhouse. In the other semifinal matchup, it will be the 2-seeded Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers going up against the Sacred Heart Pioneers at 4 p.m. on the 24th as well. The championship match will be on Sunday, April 26th at 11 a.m.
Over to the men's side, Broncimo and the Bobcats hosted Fairfield in a big MAC matchup. Playoff implications on the line here. If the Bobcats win, they keep themselves in the MAC postseason race. Let's start off with doubles. QU's Shanad Nayarati showing strong hands at the net and wins the point with the overhead. Quinnipiac lost doubles though 2-1 onto singles. Vishal Prakash slices the ball, ends up in bad position. Fairfield hits the winner down the line. He lost that one. Fairfield up 2-0. Carlos Broncimo though hits the ace. He won in straight sets. It's 2-1 Stags now. QU fifth singles, Finn Burridge, he wins a long rally here with his forehand. Fairfield hits an error at the end of the point, and Quinnipiac head coach Brian Adinolfi is hype. He chest bumps Burridge. That would even sets up at 1-1. Staying with singles, Fairfield hits a shot past the reach of Burridge in the third set. He lost that set 2-1. Third singles match now. Second set to decide the overall match. Fairfield hits a serve forehand combo. Ilias Hoxha can't return that one, and Fairfield won that set in a heartbreak. Hoxha now serving for the match. He hits that out wide and wins the match for the Cats. The bench is ecstatic. Quinnipiac celebrates on the court. The Bobcats win it 4-3. Quinnipiac trying to finish its regular season strong against the Niagara Purple Eagles.
And the team would finish the season strong, making it back-to-back MAC wins on Saturday afternoon, sweeping the Niagara Purple Eagles. Carlos Broncimo, Vishal Prakash, Alessandro Shiaka, Finn Burridge, and Shanad Nayarati won in straight sets, while Ilias Hoxha won in 3. Broncimo and Shiaka and Nayarati and Prakash won their doubles matches for the doubles point. It was the Bobcats' first home sweep of the season, moving the conference record to 5-3. Taking a look at the MAC tournament bracket, Bobcats will have a rematch with the Ryder Bronx in the semifinal round at 5 p.m. on Saturday, April 25th from Princeton, New Jersey. Quinnipiac dropped the previous match 5-2 back on April 12th. In the 1 p.m. match, it will be the undefeated Marist Red Foxes, the regular season champs matchup against the 4-seeded Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. The championship match will be on Sunday, April 26th at 3 p.m.
The softball team hosted Marist in a 3-game series here in Hamden. Let's check out Game 1. Red Foxes come into town, and it's right into the third inning where the scoring started. A tough third inning for Quinnipiac. Haley R. singles up the middle. That scored 2, put Marist on the board early on, 2-0 Red Foxes, and the third inning continued. Livia Wiltsey with a base hit. That scored another. As R comes around, it's 3-0 Marist, and the Bobcats not out of the inning just yet. Isabella Mannery, she adds a single of her own. 2 more runs come across. That's right. It was a 5-run inning for Marist, but Quinnipiac eventually made it to the bottom half of the inning. Allie Hochstadter singled in a run that cut the deficit to 4. It's 5-1 Red Foxes into the 6th. Kennedy DeMott, she hits a base hit. That scored 2, but Mary Fogg a little too over-aggressive on the base pass. She's thrown out at the plate. It's 5-3 Marist staying in the 6th. Hochstadter again, she doubles to left field. That scores Kennedy DeMott, but not quite enough for Quinnipiac. That was the last scoring play of the game. Marist wins it 5-4, and the Bobcats just couldn't overcome the 5-run third inning for the Red Foxes. The second game, it was more of the same for the Bobcats. Another close, low-scoring loss, with Marist winning it 2-1. Stella Blanchard pitched a complete game of 1-run ball for the Red Foxes, allowing just 6 hits and striking out 4. It was a tough day for the Bobcats bats. 3-hole hitter Kennedy DeMott went 0 for 4 and left 5 runners on base. Shannon Kendall also pitched a complete game for Quinnipiac, but recorded the loss, allowing 2 runs on just 1 earned.
The Bobcats were back in action on Saturday, looking to avoid a sweep. Game 3 between the Red Foxes and the Bobcats will pick the action up in the top of the first inning. Haley R. singles to center field. That one will score Peyton Pusey to put Marist on the board early, 1-0. In the bottom half of the inning, Allie Hochstadter sends this one the other way into left field. That'll score Kennedy DeMott and Mac Davis. She slides into third safely with a triple to put Quinnipiac up 2-1. Later on in the inning, Natalia Apatiga sends that one to center field. That'll score Hochstadter. QU up 3-1. In the second inning, Peyton Pusey, she'll single this one to center field. Marissa Scarano will score. Maya Salvo tries to get to third base. Nice play by the Bobcats to catch her. She's out at third. Quinnipiac's lead cut down to 3-2. And then in the third inning, who else but R? She sends this one high and far to left field, out of the park, ties this game up at 3 apiece. And then the next batter, Sienna Kunze, kiss it goodbye. Back-to-back jacks for the Red Foxes. They take a 4-3 lead. Moving on to the 5th inning. It's R once again, continuing to make an impact. She flies out to deep center field. Fogg making the catch, but deep enough for Pusey to score, extending the lead to 5-3. The Red Foxes would tack on 2 more to take this one 7-3. Kendall, with the loss, falls to 12-10 on the season.
Zach, it's time for our final break of our Paws career. Still a lot of good stuff to cover, though. Golf beat reporter Hayden Windman will preview the MAC Championship for the golf team. They head down to Florida. We'll see how they fare.
And for one last time, we run you through the top 5 plays of the week. I can't wait to see which ones made it. When we don't go anywhere, Sports Paws will be right back.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. I'm golf beat reporter Hayden Widman at Chili's Sleeping Giant Golf Course, wishing I was down in sunny Florida watching some golf. Nonetheless, I am still here to preview the MAC Women's Golf Championships down in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. Quinnipiac is looking to win their 7th MAC title in program history and their 5th in the last 6 years. Last year, the Bobcats finished first and have 3 returning golfers that finished in the top 10 and 4 in the top 20. The Bobcats will be sending down reigning MAC player and Rookie of the Year Sofia Fujita in the 1 slot, followed by Marissa Flores in the 2, Samantha Galantini in the 3 slot, Valdehai Shaw in the 4th spot, and Natalie Spiska and Sandhya Vaikuntham in the 5 and 6 slots, respectively. Breaking down the field for Quinnipiac, starting in their 1 slot, Sofia Fujita, she placed first at the MAC Championships last year, finishing a 3-round total of 1 over and a first-round total of 4 under. Fujita's score of 68 is the best single-round score since 2010, which is as far back as individual results are available. Skipping 1 slot down to the 3, Samantha Galantini finished tied for 8th place last year at the MAC Championships. Galantini shot a 72, which is even par in the final round, as she finished the 2025 MAC Championships with a score of 225 or 9 over. One player that did not make the trip last year was Natalie Spiska. 2 tournaments ago, Spiska finished in a 3-way tie for first at the St. John's Invitational. At that tournament, she had a solid 2nd round, shooting 3 over and a 2-round total of 154, which is 12 over. All groups will tee off Tuesday, April 21st, and the final rounds will conclude on Thursday, April 23rd. That's all the time I have at Sleeping Giant Golf Course. Back to Beckett and Zach at the desk.
Good stuff, Hayden. Also, earlier today, Fujita, Flores, and Galantini were named to the All-MAC first team. Now, down the road in East Haven, the baseball team taking on arch rival Yale in the baseball edition of the Battle of Whitney. It was an even matchup and took 12 innings to decide a winner, but the Yale Bulldogs came out on top. Bulldogs won it 6-5 thanks to a walk-off single by Colin Sloan. Nick West pitched 6 innings of 1-run ball, throwing 103 pitches. out of the Yale bullpen.
The team headed to Buffalo on Friday for a MAC doubleheader with the Golden Griffins. Bobcats fell 10-3 in Game 1 as each pitcher for the team gave up multiple runs, with starter James Pesdera taking the loss, allowing 5 runs in just 2 1/3 innings pitched. Canisius scored in 6 different frames, with Bennett Cox, J.C. Spinoza, and Eric Weeks each driving in a pair of runs.
The second game on Friday was the complete opposite for Quinnipiac. The Bobcats won it 3-0 behind a fantastic pitching performance from Andrew Rubio. 6 shutout innings, allowing just 4 hits. Also had 8 strikeouts to 1 walk. 5 different Bobcats recorded a hit, with Nielsen, Marino, and Garbowski picking up the RBIs. Quinnipiac 3-0. Rubio improves to 4-1.
The Bobcats would take the rubber match on Sunday by a final of 12-2 in an abbreviated 7-inning game. Nick Balcom posted a quality start, going 6 innings while allowing just 5 hits and 2 runs. Senior right-hander struck out 8 and didn't issue a walk. Jack Balser had a pair of home runs for Quinnipiac, the offense erupting for 7 runs in the 7th to push the lead to 10 before Joseph Hiller retired the Golden Griffins in order to end the game. The men's lacrosse team clinched a spot in the playoffs on Saturday after defeating Iona 19-7. Cole Marsala was the main catalyst on offense for the Bobcats, scoring 3 goals and adding 5 assists for a game-high 8 points. Duncan Zielke and Nate Watson both chipped in with 6 points as well, while Evan Miner made 9 saves on 15 shots faced. Zielke and Max Powell earned MAC Weekly Awards for their performances in the win. Quinnipiac closes the regular season on Wednesday when it hosts Manhattan.
Over to the women's track and field team. They participated in the Mark T. Young Invitational at Yale on Saturday. The Bobcats picked up 5 wins, with Izzy Anzaldo leading the way, winning 3 events herself: the 100-meter, 200-meter, and 4x100 relay. Anzaldo also set a new school record of 23.87 seconds in the 200 event. Quinnipiac won the 4x400 relay, and Talia Graham had the Bobcats' 5th win with a 3.75-meter vault.
Rand Pecknell of the men's ice hockey team have a trio of transfers joining the squad for the 2026-27 season. On Tuesday, the Bobcats bolstered their back end with goaltender Rourke Appleby and defenseman Andrew Strathman. Appleby suited up in 68 games over the last 2 seasons with Lake Superior State, recording a .910 save percentage and a 2.96 goals against average. Strathman, the 98th overall pick in the 2023 NHL Draft, had 6 points in 38 games last season for North Dakota. The big catch came on Wednesday when Jack Stockfish announced he would be transferring to Quinnipiac. The 6'4" forward was a Hobie Baker Memorial Award nominee and Atlantic Hockey First Team selection at Holy Cross. Putting up 35 points in 38 games for the Crusaders last year, he'll look to have a big impact for the Bobcats moving forward.
And there's also been a ton of movement for the men's basketball team, with the transfer portal window officially open. All-MAC second-teamer Jaden Zimmerman announced that he's going to play at Grand Canyon next season. The Lopes won a tournament game in 2025 and have made the big dance 3 of the last 4 years. And then reserve big man Sam Nosikar, he moving on as well. He's committed to Gardner-Webb. Nosikar dealt with injuries during his lone year in Hampden, but when healthy, he was a fantastic defensive big, playing a huge role in the MAC semifinal against Marist. And just earlier today, forward Grant Randall announced that he will transfer to Dayton for next year. Randall visited George Mason, Cincinnati, and Dayton last week before deciding on the Flyers. The 6'9" wing put up a career-high 28 points, 15 rebounds in his last game as a Bobcat in the MAC quarterfinals. Randall also led the conference in offensive rating last year. Another key loss for the Bobcats, associate head coach Sean Morris. He's leaving the program to take on the same role at Siena, according to multiple reports.
Roman Owen has started to fill out his coaching staff for the women's basketball team. Amaya West follows Owen from UNLV, where she served as a video coordinator, assisting the Lady Rebels to a second-place finish in the Mountain West. Owen also added Alex Call to the staff. Call spent last season with Loyola Chicago after spending 4 years at George Washington, where he helped win 3 Atlantic 10 titles. West will serve as assistant coach, while Call will be the team's associate head coach. Now, speaking of basketball, Beckett, instead of top plays tonight, I think we should be taking a look back at your best plays from the year during pickup basketball.
Or we go over to the wiffle ball field, Zach, where you saved a couple of runs with a one-handed catch off the house. Unfortunately, we don't have the footage of that. But let's check out the top 5 plays of the week in Quinnipiac athletics. Heading down the Merritt for play number 5, Julia Givens face dodges around her defender and scores in the bottom corner. More from this game in a moment.
Play 4 in New Rochelle. Mason Oak makes a stop on the defensive end. He fires the ball downfield, eventually gets picked up by Luke Byman. He soars, doing his best Freebird impression to score on the goal. Bobcats clinch a playoff spot with the win.
Play 3 on the tennis courts. Elias Hawkshaw with the serve, and he aces his opponent to clinch the match for the Cats. They celebrate on the court. 4-3 win over the Fairfield Stags.
Back on the turf for play 2. How about a buzzer beater? Anna Givens' shot gets saved, but Mia Delmont puts the ball into the net, closing out the first half in style.
Top play of the week to East Haven. The ball gets driven to shallow center field, but Caden Williamson is there to make the grab. One more look at that. A Superman catch from the first year.
Now, my relationship with Sports Paws has been brief, to say the least. I didn't get involved with student media until I was a sophomore, and I was a resident assistant the prior 2 years with weekly meetings every Monday night. So I only got the chance to be around the show this year. It's been fun to be on the air and work with the producing staff, and I'm glad I got to go on a few times. But I'm even happier I got to share the desk with the man to my left. Beckett is somebody I have always looked up to, and we may be in the same graduating class, but he's been one of the biggest influences on my student media career. Beckett hit the ground running. He was broadcasting men's soccer's NCAA tournament game for QBSN just a few months into our time at Quinnipiac, and he covered multiple sports and produced some of the best content of anybody in Q30. Truth be told, I was scared of him, despite sharing a Comm 101 class his first years. He was, in my eyes, the man. Flash forward to last year, and we shared a beat staff for the first time, and all I could think of was, how could I ever live up to that guy, and why would he bother helping me out? And yet, Beckett is one of the nicest people I've ever met. He's the hardest worker in any room. He doesn't complain or make excuses, and above all else, he cares about his work, but also the work of others. He's inspired me and so many different people in this organization, maybe without even realizing it. He's somebody whom I've become close friends with over the last 2 years, something I never would have expected back in Comm 101. I could spend a whole hour-long special saying great things about him, but to keep it simple, Beckett, I love you, dude, and I know there's nothing but great things in your future.
When I came to Quinnipiac a few years ago, I knew I wanted to pursue a career in sports media. That was about all I knew. 4 years and hopefully 2 degrees later, I owe so much to this university, this club, and the people here. Not even sure where to start. My freshman year, I jumped into Q30 and QBSN right away and was given so many opportunities from the jump. I knew I wanted to be on air, and Q30 gave me the chance to do that right away. Thank you to the producers and upperclassmen at the time who trusted the new kid on their show. That's what stands out about this place to me over some other student media programs, the ability to jump in and get reps right away. Specifically, I want to thank Ethan Logue, the sports director my freshman year, for some reason trusting me enough to put me on the men's basketball beat just a few months after being on campus, a position that I kept and loved all 4 years. Partially thanks to Keith Savage for taking me under his wing for 2 of those years. I had a blast on the men's soccer beat for 3 years and even the baseball grind, if you know, you know, for 2 years. These opportunities made me who I am today professionally. Getting to travel to 3 MAC tournaments in Atlantic City, driving to Virginia for a tournament game, and even hopping on a hectic flight to California, which resulted in us changing in the San Francisco airport and covering a game a few hours later for basketball. I was able to broadcast an NCAA tournament and multiple MAC postseason games for soccer and cover countless road games across the Northeast. These experiences are so important for college reporters and broadcasters. So thank you to the university for investing and hopefully continuing to invest in student media here. It makes a difference. To everyone I've closely worked with, you have each had an impact on me in some way, shape, or form. And thank you for letting me be myself. When the seniors say goodbye, it's always hard and usually ends with a piece of advice. All I have to say is you can learn from anyone. So soak in your experiences here because I can promise you, based on my work in the real world so far, the work you do in Q30 does translate.
Well, thank you, Beckett. So many of us have learned from you, but that's all the time we have for Sports Paws tonight. Thank you for spending your Monday night with us. A huge thank you to all the producers and everybody working hard behind the scenes to make this show possible.